connect to a specific TCP port, and then they get an administrative command prompt. I guess it's privilege escalation, right? That's what I'm seeing there. I think I'm believing the majority here.
What about netcat? It could be a Trojan.
It could be a Trojan, but the description here hasn't told you that they lied about what was installed. And that's what a Trojan is.
What was that?
A Trojan is something that lies to you about what it is, and that's not anywhere here. So I mean, it could be the result of a Trojan, but the description here doesn't tell you it's a Trojan. What it does tell you, though, is you get administrative rights. So that's privilege escalation.
When it says, for instance, the invoker will be the person who is connecting, or the person who will be connecting?
The person connecting, the
The
attacker.
person connecting? So why would the attacker say, oh, never mind.
Yeah, because it's got some kind of malware. All right. Well, I was trying to mitigate this. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a little confused though about a specific TCP.
What's that?
It says it's.
So let me interrupt you guys because I can't hear it. Go ahead.
It says it's going into a specific TCP port.
Yes.
How do you figure out?
Well, that's a fairly common old-fashioned trick, like back orifice would listen on a certain port, like 31337. And when you connect to that port, you get control of the machine. That's the old-fashioned way. That's why people put firewalls on to block that stuff. And that's why a firewall that blocks just by port number will protect you from those old-fashioned attacks. That's why they moved to the more modern ones that will use something like port knocking or covert channel to connect. But you can still do it that way. Okay, they're testing the web code, and they find that they provide malformed URLs. All right, and that is fuzzy. You send a lot of random data at it to see if it does any harm. It's one common test to define the weaknesses in your software, or hardware for that. All right, let's try this one. Number 3, they're worried that users will submit something that will contain malicious code that others are hurt by when they read the post. What they're describing there is cross-site scripting. One user posts a message with scripts in it, and when other people view it, it hurts them. So you use input validation, and that prevents it. Hardening is not a problem that's solved. Hardening is a good thing. Patching. Hardening, so CMD are not sensible answers. You're trying to find which problem can be solved by validation, and you solve cross-site scripting with validation because you don't let people put in funny characters like less than and greater than. All right, so let's do 4. Which one of these protects you from dictionary attacks? I think the best answer is A. Remember, the lockout threshold would protect any kind of password guessing, but that's not how you do it. You steal the hash file and you crack the hashes. Otherwise, so the complexity requirements, that's why they have them. That's the reason why Microsoft has those complexity requirements, to make sure you don't pick a word that's in a dictionary, and it's kind of obsolete now because there are dictionaries of known passwords that include the complex ones. But back when people would use an ordinary dictionary, this was one way to make sure that words you use are not in the dictionary. All right. Right, which security measure will protect your hard drive even if somebody steals the whole computer? All right, and the best thing is encryption. The power-on password is a thin layer of protection, fairly easily bypassed. It's better than nothing, but the real protection is encryption. Yeah?
Apple have, if you use the disk, you could reset the password on your laptop or computer before.
Yes.
How?
But that does not defeat encryption.
Okay.
Now, that's the same thing. Like if you use the Ultimate Boot CD, you can bypass Windows passwords. That's why the password is not a very strong barrier. But if it's encrypted, you need to give it the encryption key before it can even start up. So that's why it's there. And the encryption is supposed to be on a USB stick that you don't store with your laptop or something, so the thief doesn't get that too. Yeah, here's a fair one. We're going to go Windows System Administration. Sarah, her user account is deleted. When she returns, she gets a new account, but now she can't open her old files. What's the problem? All right, the problem is if you delete an account and make a new one, you have a different SID, a security identifier. You are a different account. It does not go over your name or anything. So the new account used by the same person does not have the privileges to get in the files owned by the old account. So it's NTFS permissions blocking. Making a new account with the same name does not get you in the stuff that the old account could get into.
It
Yeah.
says NTFS
Mhm.
problem, but the question specifically mentions that it has the appropriate NTFS permissions.
Well, actually, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's gotta be the encryption. Probably the encryption. Good time you pointed that out. Let's take a look at their long answer for 2. I think you're right. I think I didn't read it carefully enough. It's EFS, you're right. Thank you. Because that's right, they fixed the NTFS, so you must have encrypted them then. Okay. If you encrypt them, even when you adjust the permissions, you still can't get in. This is a little bit technical about Windows, but you're quite correct. Thank you. C is a better answer than B.
You talked about that one in nighttime forensics.
Yeah, it came up there, and it also comes up in Windows 7. All right, good, thank you. Good for you people who's smarter than me. Yeah.
Is there any way for her to get access to those files?
No, not in Windows 7 anymore. The only way to get past EFS is if she remembers her old, no, now she lost her SID, even if she uses her same password, it won't get her in. In Windows 2000, the administrator could get in. But in Windows XP, Microsoft decided that was a bad idea because the administrator shouldn't be able to get in everybody's files. So they say you should configure a recovery agent before deploying EFS, but you have to do that manually, and you have to remember to do it before you encrypt your stuff. So unless they prepared for it in advance, no. However, if I wanted to get in, what I would do is take a system image backup from a year ago, play that, have her log in with the old account, and get the files that way, if you're making image backups. But most people don't. They only back up the files, they don't back up the SAM, and then you're just toast. It's a pretty good reason to make image backups. Well, you're not. This is why Microsoft says you should never delete accounts. Just disable them, because you might be sorry. And if you disable them, nobody can use it, and that accomplishes what you want. But you can re-enable it if something like this comes up. Yeah?
Would it be possible to use Linux to ignore the EFS passwords?
No, because it's encryption. And the problem is, to decrypt it, you need the key, and the key is in the certificate that's tied to her old account, which is gone. Now, you might be able to use a forensic tool and recover her old profile, but if it's been a year, it's all written over. Man, you got problems. This is, no, in fact, you really need that file, it could be quite a job to get it back. But you know, if it's really important, there are ways you could do it. Now, let's see. Okay, that'll do. How do you track the specific location of a mobile device? That's a fair statement. All right, GPS is the only answer there that makes any sense. Those others are not going to track its location.